The South African Police Service members who were tasked to investigate PPE corruption are themselves allegedly involved. The two senior officers were suspended. Well, I should say rather, they were tasked with suspending the crime intelligence head, Peter Jacobs, on charges relating to alleged PPE tender corruption. But it has since been established that the two senior SAPS members are also being investigated by the Hawks for a 200 million rand PPE tender. And joining us now to talk us through some of these allegations is Brigadier Vish Naidoo, spokesperson for the South African Police Service. Brigadier Naidoo, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, let's start with the head of crime intelligence, Peter Jacobs. What was he suspended for?
Well, Colin Gambi, thank you for this opportunity, by the way, and good morning to you.
Good morning.
You would recall from the SAPS point of view, we have never confirmed or denied the suspension of Lieutenant General Peter Jacobs. We never confirm or deny the suspension of any of our members because these are internal matters and we deal with them internally.
Yeah.
However, and why this came out in the public domain, it wasn't due to the police making such confirmation. So we don't want to get into a conversation about what internal matters are being conducted against, be it Lieutenant General Jacobs or any other member of the SAPS for that matter.
So Lieutenant General Jacobs is still in office, therefore?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's still in office, neither am I saying he's been suspended, because as I indicated, when we're dealing with internal matters, we don't discuss that in a public domain. There are if it's a criminal investigation, and if a member of the SAPS has appeared in court in that criminal investigation, then I think legally we would be obliged, we would be obliged to confirm that.
Yeah.
But right now we don't have any legal grounds to be able to confirm or deny any investigations against any of our members unless they appear in court.
Yeah. Brigadier, talk to me about the awareness, or perhaps you might say you're not aware, that the Hawks, alongside the SIU, are set to be probing the two officers that were put on Lieutenant General Jacobs to investigate him for this alleged PPE corruption that I'm talking to you about, which of course you are neither confirming nor denying. But I've got to ask you the question. These two members, their names are Lieutenant General Francina Vuma, and the other one is the Major General Johannes Ritt. And they are the two members that apparently were tasked by the Police Commissioner at national level, Khehla Sitole, to investigate Peter Jacobs. Are you aware that they are being investigated by the Hawks and the SIU?
Yeah, Collie, I think you are referring to an article that came out this weekend in the Daily Maverick. Let me explain to you how the process works.
Yeah.
Should there be an investigation by any investigative body, be it the Special Investigation Unit, the SIU as you refer to it as, or the Hawks, which is the Directorate for Priority Crimes Investigation, or IPID, or the Investigative Directorate, which is headed by, which is in the office of Advocate Chamula Botoy. If any of them are conducting a criminal investigation or any criminal investigation against any of our members, they would submit a report, which we refer to as a factual report,
right?
Either making recommendations or not on that factual report to the National Commissioner of Police. Now, I know the article makes reference to investigations by one or two of these units, which we are not aware of. So the National Commissioner has not received any reports from any of these investigative bodies. So there is nothing that the National Commissioner has to enable him to act on these allegations that have come out in this newspaper article.
Yeah.
So this is basically the process, and if that process has not been undertaken, and if such report has not been provided to the National Commissioner, be it in an investigation against any member of the SAPS, then it wouldn't enable the National Commissioner to act.
Yeah. Brigadier Vish Naidoo, let me ask you perhaps a simpler question, uncomplicated both for me and the public. Does the South African police management suspect that there has been wrongdoing on the procurement of PPE that we are told amounted upwards of 1.4 billion rand? Do you suspect that there may have been wrongdoing as the top management of the police went about procuring this PPE?
Well, Collie, we haven't been given any reason or information to suspect or believe that there's been any wrongdoing. You would recall that sometime last year, after it emerged that there's been some form of maladministration or unprocedural procurements of PPEs, the President pronounced on the establishment of a fusion center, which is a center that is being represented by the various investigative bodies that I've highlighted to you. And they have requested, like all other government departments, from the SAPS, for us to provide all documentation with regards to the procurement of PPEs. And that has been done, but we haven't heard anything, so there's no reason or cause for us to suspect that there's been any wrongdoing, unless, of course, it comes up at a later stage that there is a report either from the Fusion Center or any one of these investigative bodies. But right now, there's no reason or cause to suspect that.
Yeah. Well, it's strange that you would say that, Brigadier, because the Hawks publicly confirmed the investigation in August of 20, and this was an investigation post the raid that they conducted on the homes of the directors of at least two of the implicated companies that were said to have worked with the South African Police Service. Are you at least aware of that?
I said, Collie, it's strange that that came out publicly, but an official report on that particular investigation that you're referring to has not been made available to a national commissioner to enable him to be able to conduct the departmental processes, which, report will enable the national commissioner to conduct. So if it was publicly done, it's not sufficient. There has to be an official report to the national commissioner. This public proposal or confirmation or pronouncement that you're referring to, I personally haven't heard it. The national commissioner is not aware of it.
Yeah.
So we need that official report to be able to act on it.
And
this newspaper article is quoting, saying that there was this public pronouncement made. So we still yet to see confirmation of that in writing from that particular investigative authority.
And how are relations between Commissioner Khehla Sitole and Peter Jacobs?
It is a relationship like any other divisional commissioner of the organization. It's a professional relationship, and the national commissioner has on many occasions highlighted that he would only go by and act on what prescripts are outlining, that governs the running of the organization, and he has a professional relationship with all of his managers that report to him.
Yeah, and the Secret Service account, you would know that this account was a subject of much talk at the time that Richard Mdluli was the head of crime intelligence. What do you know about that account and its use right now, post the Mdluli era? Are you satisfied as police management that its monies are spent on things that they are intended for?
The Secret Service account, the use of the money there is being accounted for on various platforms. You would know there's a select committee, there's an intelligence committee, there's also the Inspector General of Intelligence, where this accountability takes place. And I think there's better, more stringent oversight and measures being put in place to ensure that there's no malpractice whatsoever as far as this funding is concerned. Hence, you would have seen that there's allegations being leveled at certain individuals that are alleged to have misused these funds, starting from the Inspector General of Intelligence, where that investigation is alleged to be conducted. I have not received a report. I'm not aware of it personally, but there are talks of this oversight and investigations being conducted. So I think it's much better now, the oversight than it was during the time of Richard Mdluli and so forth.
Yeah. Final question to you, Brigadier, and very briefly. Is the head of the anti-gang unit, Andre Lincoln, being investigated for failing to protect the now deceased Charles Kinnear?
The investigation into the murder of Charles Kinnear is an investigation that is being conducted by the Hawks. I think they would be in a better position to confirm or deny who is subject of that investigation. Like I said to you at the onset of this interview, where there are departmental processes underway, we cannot confirm that in a public space at the moment. Once those due processes have been finalized, then depending on the outcome of those due processes, then only we will go public with those outcomes.
All right, but what you are prepared to say at this stage is that there is an internal probe within the SAPS about the failure to protect Charles Kinnear.
That was already pronounced by the National Commissioner last year, shortly after Charles Kinnear had lost his life in the Western Cape. He did pronounce on it then, and I can confirm that there is an internal probe.
All right. Brigadier Vish Naidoo, thank you very much. He speaks for the South African Police Service.